Welcome back to Mastering MHA MBA. This is Chapter 6, Part 2, ABC Mechanics. In Part 1, we covered why simple costing systems lie. Today, we run the fix on Plastim Corporation, the 4-part cost hierarchy, the 7-activity allocation, and the $35 swing on the complex CL5 lens that completely changes Plastim's pricing strategy. Quick recap from Part 1, broad averaging undercosts and overcosts in pairs. Plastim's simple costing system shows the complex CL5 lens at $97 and the simple S3 lens at $58.75. The 3 guidelines for refinement: trace more direct costs, build homogeneous pools, use cost drivers as bases. Today we apply all 3 to Plastim. By the end of this video, you will define an activity-based costing system. You will name the 4-part cost hierarchy, and you will allocate costs across 7 activities at Plastim, ending with the cost per unit of each lens type. Activity-based costing. An activity is an event, task, or unit of work with a specified purpose. Designing a mold, setting up a machine, operating a machine, distributing finished goods. ABC identifies activities, calculates the cost of each activity, and assigns costs to products based on the mix of activities each product actually uses. Plastim's team identifies 7 activities: design products and processes, set up molding machines, operate molding machines, clean and maintain molds, prepare batches of finished lenses for shipment, distribute lenses to customers, administer and manage all processes. Each activity has its own cost driver, that is the unlock. Look at one activity to see the entire ABC story. Setup of molding machines. The simple system allocated $300,000 of setup costs using direct labor hours, the same base it used for everything else. ABC allocates setup costs using setup hours, which is the actual driver. Same total cost. Different products get different shares. Setup data. Plastim makes 60,000 simple lenses in batches of 240, so 250 batches at 2 hours each. 500 setup hours total. CL5 makes 15,000 complex lenses in batches of 50, so 300 batches at 5 hours each. 1,500 setup hours total. CL5 uses 3/4 of all setup time. Now allocate the 300,000 of setup cost 2 ways. Using direct labor hours, the cost allocation base of the simple system, S3 picks up 226,000 of setup cost. Using setup hours, the actual cost driver, S3 picks up only 75,000. The simple system was overcosting S3 by 150,000 on setup alone. ABC organizes costs into a 4-part cost hierarchy. Each level is defined by what drives the cost: output unit level, batch level, product sustaining, facility sustaining. Memorize these 4. They are the framework for choosing cost allocation bases. Output unit level costs, costs that increase with each individual unit of product. Energy to run the molding machine. Machine depreciation, repair. The cost allocation base is something measured per unit, like machine hours. At Plastim, machine operations costs are output unit level. Batch level costs, costs that depend on the number of batches, not the number of units. Setup costs are the canonical example. Setting up a mold takes the same time whether the batch is 50 units or 250. Material handling, quality inspection, and order processing also fit. The base is something per batch, like setup hours. Product sustaining costs, costs to support a specific product line regardless of unit volume or batch count. Design costs, engineering changes, marketing for a new product launch. At Plastim, design costs are allocated by part square feet of mold, a measure of design complexity, not by number of units. Facility sustaining costs, costs that support the whole organization, not individual products. General administration, building security, top management compensation. Some companies deduct these as a lump sum from operating income instead of allocating. Plastim allocates anyway, using direct labor hours, with the caveat that the base is somewhat arbitrary at this level. Now run the 7-step costing process from Chapter 4 with ABC instead of simple. Same 7 steps, but indirect costs are split across activities, and each activity has its own cost allocation base. Steps 3 and 4 are where the real difference lives. Identify activities. Identify the indirect cost in each activity pool. Steps 1 and 2. Cost objects are the 60,000 S3 lenses and the 15,000 CL5 lenses. Direct costs grow under ABC because mold cleaning labor moves out of indirect and into direct. 3 direct cost categories now: materials, labor, and mold cleaning. Step 3. Identify the activities and the cost allocation base for each. Plastim ends up with 6 indirect activities. Design uses parts square feet. Setup uses setup hours. Machine operations uses machine hours. Shipment uses number of shipments. Distribution uses cubic feet. Administration uses labor hours. Exhibit 6 to 4. The 6 indirect cost pools, the budgeted cost in each, and the rate per unit of allocation base. Design 450,000 divided by 100 parts square feet equals 4,500 per part square foot. Setup 300,000 divided by 2,000 setup hours equals 150 per setup hour. Each rate is the cost driver in dollars. Step 5 is exactly that calculation. For each pool, total budgeted indirect cost divided by total budgeted quantity of the allocation base. 6 rates total. The rates are now ready to apply to each lens type. Step 6. Apply the rates. Multiply each lens's actual usage of each cost driver by the activity rate. Plastim's design uses 30 parts square feet for S3 and 70 for CL5. Setup uses 500 S3 hours and 1500 CL5 hours. Machine ops, shipments, distribution, and admin all get the same treatment. Exhibit 6 to 5 is the result. The S3 simple lens, direct costs $30.75 per unit, indirect costs $19.23 per unit, total $49.98. The CL5 complex lens, direct costs $68 per unit, indirect costs $64.07 per unit, total $132.07. Stop and absorb. Under the simple costing system, the S3 lens cost $58.75. Under ABC, $49.98. Plastim was overcosting S3 by $8.77 per unit. The CL5 went from 97 to 132, undercosted by $35.07. Both errors paired. Cross-subsidization made visible. Comparison. Same total cost across the two products, just under $5 million. The simple system reported S3 total cost $3.5 million. ABC says $3 million. $526,000 of cost moved from S3 to CL5. The conservation law from part 1 demonstrated. Why does CL5 absorb so much more under ABC? Because CL5 uses a disproportionate share of the things that drive costs. CL5 uses 3/4 of setup hours but only 25% of total volume. CL5 uses 70% of design parts square feet. ABC catches that, direct labor hours did not. Strategic takeaway. The simple costing system was telling Plastim the complex lens was a gold mine and the simple lens was barely profitable. ABC says the opposite. CL5 has a $4.93 margin, not $40. S3 can absorb the price cut to $53 and still profit. The pricing strategy flips. Exam-ready takeaways. CMA writers test 5 things on this material. Identify the 4 cost hierarchy levels. Compute activity rates from a cost pool divided by allocation-based quantity. Apply rates to a product. Compare ABC to simple results. And explain why the differences arise. Show all your work. Quick recap. ABC organizes costs into 4 hierarchy levels. Plastim's 7 activities are the cost objects. The CL5 lens jumps from $97 to $132, and the S3 lens drops $8.77, redistributing costs accurately. In part 3, we use ABC to drive decisions. Pricing, cost reduction. The hospitals using time-driven ABC. Subscribe to Mastering MHA MBA so you do not miss it.